take your best shot. It's all you got. Well, it's alright. It's alright. I'll take your best shot. It's all you got. Well, it's alright. It's alright. I'll take your best shot. It's all you got. I'll take your best shot. Take your best shot. Take your best shot. It's all you got. I'll take your best shot. Take your best shot. Take your best shot. Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say. Here comes the boom. Ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom. Here comes the boom. Ready or not. How you like me now?
Today, Readington Township Baseball League is pleased to provide you with the instructional video for use of coaches, players, and parents. Readington Junior Baseball League has recently established a mission statement that will allow us to create an unwavering commitment to the community and bring to the children a fun environment to play in and to participate in and truly learn the game of baseball. Our mission statement will be guided by 4 tenets. 1, to have total league and community involvement. Number 2, to have open and honest communication. Number 3, and paramount, is the safety of the children and all players, and in fact the fans in the surrounding playing areas. And number 4, to invest our resources in coaches and parents as coaches to ensure that we have a parity in the level of skill sets and play to make it a fun environment for the children.
Okay, the first part of this video we're going to talk about is the proper way to throw a baseball. First thing we're going to start with is the basic grip. Okay, most times when we see a lot of younger kids grip the baseball, they tend to squeeze the baseball or they put too much of their hand on the ball. What we want to try and do is have a nice loose grip, all right, so that when we throw the ball kind of flies out of our hand. If we start gripping the ball too hard, there's a lot of friction and a lot of tension, so the ball doesn't pop out of our hand like it should. So the first thing we're going to talk about is where we're going to position our fingers on top. All right, most likely kids that might have smaller hands, they can throw the ball with 3 fingers on top. That'd be fine. For the kids that have a little bit bigger hands, we like them to either have both fingers closer together, all right, out in their fingertips, and have their thumb directly on the bottom of the baseball. So when we have proper rotation, that ball comes end over end. Okay, 2 ways to throw the baseball. First of all is a 4-seam grip. I find that the 4-seam grip usually works better for younger kids. For some reason, when they tend to throw a 2-seamer, they end up cutting the ball a little bit sometimes, or the ball sinks a little bit more. We want a ball to go straight and hard when we're throwing a baseball from a fielding position, whether it be outfield, infield, and even for the younger pitchers just trying to hit location, is to have a ball that's going to go straight and hard. So a normal 4-seam grip would be across this horseshoe right here, nice and loose, our thumb directly on the bottom. So when the ball spins off, you can see all 4 seams rotate. A 2-seam grip would actually be with the seams here or across the seams here, where the ball rotates off and we have 2 seams rotating. A 4-seam, like I said, will go straighter and faster. A 2-seam usually will sink a little bit more and have a little bit more movement, resulting in a little bit slower velocity. So the first drill we're going to talk about today is a little flip drill, and it's a drill I like to do that really works on proper rotation of the baseball and being able to have that little snap at the end of our throw, which I'll refer to as a little gooseneck today. Okay. So the first we're going to do, I'm going to start my glove hand up, my throwing elbow on top of my glove, and I'm going to have my 4-seam grip. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to flick the ball right to my partner. All right. And like I said, we're going to end up with that little gooseneck right here. Okay, and what you do is when you're doing this with your kids here, is you can actually see when they throw the baseball, if the ball's spinning sideways or if their hand's the wrong way when they're done, if they don't have that little goose right there, they're not going to have proper rotation. So we can actually walk down the line and watch each kid as we're doing our drills to see if that ball's spinning the proper way every time. What we do not want is for you guys to go back kind of like you're throwing a basketball up in the air, and we don't want you to be stiff with everything. We want to make sure that every time we throw the ball, there's that little snap right there. So we're going to start in that four-seam grip. We're going to have our thumb on the bottom of the baseball. When I say go, they're going to flip the baseball to their partner. They're going to freeze there. Ready? Go. They're going to flip. We're going to hold it there. We're going to make sure that they have their gooseneck. Right here, we're not flipped as hard as we possibly can. We're going to make sure that we do that there. We're going to go back to the other line. We're going to get the same position right there. Elbows are up. Fingers are on top of the baseball. Thumbs on the bottom. Ready? Go. Going to flip it. Hold it there. Awesome right there, fellas. Same thing coming back. Here we go. Four-seam grip. Go. Awesome, much better this time. Very good, Steve. Here we go, same thing. Go. Awesome right there, fellas. And what we could do is, as I'm going down the line right here, is I can actually see if the guy has proper rotation. If he has bad rotation, I know I have to work on that guy a little bit more, try and get the proper spin on his baseball. Second drill we're going to talk about. We're just going to start you guys throwing from a knee. Reason being, a lot of times, a lot of the most common problems come from things that I do wrong with my legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of take that component out of it and concentrate only on the upper half, so that we can not make any mistakes with our left and really work on what we're doing up here. Okay. So what we're going to do, right-handed throwers, we're going to start on our right knee. Left-handers, we're going to start on the opposite knee. I'm going to start this leg back. I'm going to take my front leg. I'm going to point it directly at my target. All right, my foot's going to be slightly closed right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my elbows. I'm going to line them up right at my target. Key here is if my front arm is pointed towards where I want to throw the baseball, I have a better chance of getting it there. If my front arm's lined up the wrong way, watch what happens to my back elbow. My back elbow starts going over here. Most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the ball in the direction that I am pointed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start our front arm lined up at our target. We're going to take our back elbow and we're going to start our back elbow up. Always up above our shoulders with our fingers on top of the baseball. Just like I was talking about with the grip before. We're going to start our fingers on top, almost like we're going to wave backwards. So our fingers are on top of the baseball, our front arms line up right at our target, and all we're going to do from here is we're just going to slowly rotate, rotate, rotate. I'm going to turn my palm up. I'm going to get to this position right here, and I'm going to deliver the baseball. I'm going to finish right to my knee. So here it goes full speed here. We're going to hold that position right in that follow-through position. Make sure our eyes and our head are locked right on our target the whole time right there. Just like we talked about before, that little snap at the end of our gooseneck, what happens a lot of times if I have my fingers the wrong way, meaning on the bottom of the baseball, like I was talking about before, you kind of end up leading with the elbow a little bit and pushing the baseball and not getting that little jump at the end right there. Just like we talked about that little snap drill. I can throw the ball hard just by snapping the baseball here because my fingers are on top. When they get on the bottom, here comes that push again. So we're going to make sure that, again, fingers are on top of the baseball. A good way to check is just to say wave backwards. If I'm waving backwards right there, I know I have the ball in the right position. Or what you could do is you could start a person behind you, and you could just work on flipping the ball backwards. If I flip the ball backwards, you can see that I have the ball going the right direction, and I have my fingers on top of the baseball.
It just takes some time, little girl, in a little out the right.
Start in that power position. We're going to have our front arm lined at our target. Our back elbow is going to be high above our shoulder. And we're going to make sure that our fingers are on top of the baseball. And I can just sit here and walk behind and make sure those fingers are on top of the baseball. And again, like I said before, when I say go, both lines are going to throw here. Ready, go. Good. We're going to finish right to our knee every single time and finish and freeze there every single time. we're gonna start in what we call the power position. Okay, the power position is this. I'm gonna say four words that start with the letter F. First one is feet. All right, for you younger guys all the way up to the older guys, most important thing is every single time you throw the baseball is to make sure that we're in a straight line. That way we have good direction to our target and we can throw the ball where we want to. If our feet are crooked, right off the bat, I don't care what you do now, we're gonna have to throw awkwardly to get the ball where we want to. So we're gonna make sure our feet are lined up in a straight line. We're gonna have them spread apart a little bit wider than shoulder width. I'm gonna take my front foot, I'm gonna open it up slightly towards my target. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing we did with our upper half before, starting that power position, front arm lined up, back elbow high, fingers on top. I'm waving backwards, and all we're gonna do right here, again, just like I talked about before, we're gonna rotate our upper half, palms going up. We're gonna rotate our bottom half, and we're gonna finish to our target, right at the same time here. Nice and loose and freeze there. So again, we're really not doing too much of the legs here, but we're really just working on the upper half, but we're incorporating that little rotation with our lower half. Spread our feet out a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. What we're going to do is we're going to open our front foot up slightly to our target. We're going to make sure we're still in a good straight line with our feet. We're going to take our elbows, we're going to make sure they're inside our shoulders so they're in a straight line. Our fingers are on top, our gloves right at our target. And when I say go, Timmy's going to rotate and throw the baseball here. Ready? Go. Awesome. And freeze there every single time. In this drill, we're going to start our feet spread apart just like we just started in the same power position. Elbows are lined up. And all I'm going to do here, kind of like I'm a pitcher, I'm going to bring my leg back just a little bit, and I'm going to throw and follow through. What we're trying to do here is just by taking a small step, we're going to make sure that we're in a straight line. If we take a big leg kick, most likely you guys might mess up a little bit again. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little small leg kick, leg goes back, throw and finish. Nice and loose. What you're going to see Ricky do this time, he's actually going to bring his leg back a little bit, kind of like a small leg kick. He's going to throw, follow through, and actually make sure that his head and everything's right on line at his target here. Go ahead, Rick. Good. One of the things we can look for in this drill, in this power position, is that this front arm stays right at our target the whole time. A lot of times this front arm, like we talked about going across before, what we didn't talk about as much is that this arm opens up a lot of times, and all of a sudden this head starts to tilt, and all of a sudden we're throwing that little cutter again. Okay, so we're going to make sure that the whole time we throw, that this front arm's lined at our target, our head's on target, our fingers are on top. When we rotate, 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 we make sure that our head is directly at our target. We throw and deliver the baseball. Obviously, when we're throwing a baseball, all right, what we want to do is kind of develop a little bit of momentum. What momentum means is kind of building up speed with my arm, so when I get to the release point, my arm is moving faster than it would from a dead stop position, okay? So starting in this position right here, what we're really concentrating on is making sure our elbows up, our front arm's lined up at our target, our fingers are on top. Now that we're going to start our hands together, what we're going to try and do is develop a little momentum, so when I throw the baseball, I'm moving full speed, I'm throwing a little bit harder there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start our hands together, and all I'm gonna do, what we can do here first is we'll just take our hands and we're just gonna separate them until we get to the power position, all right? And all you're doing is here is you're developing muscle memory so that we develop exactly where my elbow should be when I actually separate my hands, okay? This is called a little step behind drill, all right? What we're gonna do, if you're a right-handed thrower, we're gonna take our left foot, we're gonna step ahead, we're gonna take our right foot, we're gonna step behind, then we're going to make that circle with her and develop a little momentum and deliver the baseball. So here it looks full speed. Hands are together, left, behind, circle, throw and finish. Again, left, behind, circle and finish. The footwork is going to be a little bit different than the fielding position. We're not going to use this for fielding ground balls or fly balls. It's just for the drill here. What we're going to do is Timmy's going to take a left step. He's going to take his right foot behind. He's going to make that circle with his arm to develop a little momentum. He's going to throw, finish, and follow through right at his target. Go ahead, Timmy. Left, behind, circle, throw. Awesome, very good.
Something in here's not right today. Why am I so uptight today? Paranoia is all I got left. I don't
The last part of our throwing program we're going to end off with is a long toss throw. A long toss throw will give us a little bit more arm strength, because the longer I could throw, the harder I'll start to throw. So if you guys want to finish off with your throwing program, a long toss is a great way to do it. Long toss is going to work like this. What we're going to do is we're going to start our hands together. Our left foot's going to be forward. We're going to take our right foot and we're going to actually hop forward. We're going to make our circle with our arm and we're going to deliver the baseball. We're going to develop momentum towards our target. So it's left, hands together, right hop, throw and follow through. What we're going to do with our long toss throwing program, what we're going to do is going to back our players up to a safe throwing distance. This is going to be about 100 feet where we can throw mechanically correct a further distance, where we're trying to put a little bit more juice on our throw, try and gain a little bit of arm strength here. So we're going to watch Ricky take a crow hop. He's got his left foot in front. He's got his hands together like he just caught the ball. He's going to hop with his right leg, make a circle with his arm, and throw the baseball. Go ahead, Rick.
So what was the reason for the creation of an instructional video? Well, it's no surprise that baseball is America's favorite pastime, and baseball is quickly becoming a favorite pastime of Readington Township. Readington Township boasts the largest organized sport in baseball. Over 400 families representing over 550 players are involved with the recreation program. Over the past several years, Readington has developed a very strong reputation for developing baseball players. The motivation to create the video is to maintain parity in skill sets at all levels, inform coaches, parents, and players of what will be expected, and finally, to create a fun learning environment for all. The video is broken down into 5 specific categories: throwing, fielding, hitting, pitching, and catcher techniques are all structured in a way that it's very easy to follow. Each category is structured to first introduce the fundamental and then followed up by drills to reinforce the fundamental. We encourage you to watch this video as a family and to utilize it as a resource throughout the recreational player's career. Baseball is a fun game, and when played with proper skills, can help players build self-confidence, self-esteem, and leadership qualities that they will carry with them through life.
This part of the video, we're going to work on fielding. Now, when we catch the baseball, we want to make sure we always want to try to catch the ball with 2 hands, okay? Now, the waist is kind of like an in-between point. If my thumbs are up, I'm getting ready to receive the ball. Anything above my waist, I want to go fingers up. Anything below my waist, I want to go fingers down, okay? Well, a lot of times kids will get stuck in this position. No matter where the ball is, they'll either stay like this or they'll try to do this. And I'm sure you've seen that a bunch of times, okay? When the ball's high, I just want to go fingers up. So one of the things that we can do is just take something like a wiffle ball. And the drill that we're going to work on with the guys today is I'm just going to toss the ball. And what they're going to do is they're going to step and catch the ball. Now they're going to trust using their hands that their hands are going to catch the ball. okay? When I'm in this position, I'm not as vulnerable. So if I were to miss the ball, it's just gonna go to the side. Once we want the kids to try to do this, now we're putting them in front of the ball to try to catch it, and that's when it starts to get a little, they start getting a little bit nervous. So if you take the wiffle balls, you'll get a good muscle memory going, and they'll learn that they can trust their hands to catch the baseball. Now we went over the drill. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up 3 or 4 of our ball players, and we're gonna have them work on catching, okay? They're gonna get in the ready position, the ball's gonna get tossed to them, we're gonna step to it, pop our feet, and throw it back to our target. Again, we're working on catching with 2 hands and stepping to the baseball. Again, watch, we're catching it with 2 hands, we're stepping, getting to a good power position, and moving through the ball. We don't sit here flat-footed, wait for the ball to come to us. We're actually going to get the ball, going through the ball, setting up our momentum towards our target. Again, you want to make sure that when you toss the ball, you're tossing it above their waist. That way when you're tossing above their waist, you're making them catch the ball in a position that they don't really usually like to catch it. Now what we're gonna talk about is the setup position, okay? Whether I'm receiving a throw or the pitcher's getting ready to deliver the ball. As a fielder, I have to get set up and get ready. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna have the weight on the balls of my feet, I'm gonna be nice and loose, my arms are gonna be nice and loose. I'm gonna watch the pitcher. As the ball's getting ready to cross the plate, I can do 1 of 2 things. I can either hop into position and be ready, or I can just creep to the ball and get ready. Any of those 2 things, I'm nice and loose, and I'm getting ready for the ball. Notice where my hands are. I'm not like this, and I'm not this way. I'm on the balls of my feet, I'm nice and loose, and I'm in a good athletic position. Okay, the ball's hit to me on the ground, I'm in my ready position. The ball crosses the plate, boom, the ball's hit to me. Now, what I wanna do is I wanna approach the ball nice and loose and nice and low. My last 2 steps to the baseball are right, left, catch, okay? So that way when I catch the ball, I'm going right, left, catch. That's gonna set my momentum up to throwing to my target, okay? A key and a very important point of this is to make sure that our throwing hand, when we're receiving the ball, is on top of my glove, okay? A lot of times kids will receive the ball like this. If you look at this position, I'm more vulnerable. If it takes a bad bounce, I have a chance of getting hit, okay? But if I take my top hand and I cover the ball, look, if it takes a bad bounce, okay, I'm protected. Also, when I do catch the ball now, I can take the ball out a lot quicker and make the exchange to make my throw to first base. Now what we're doing is we're gonna actually go through our ground ball progressions. Now, the partners are gonna roll the ball to these guys. All we're gonna do is we're gonna go right, left, catch, freeze in that position, and then they're gonna roll it back. The great thing about doing it like this is I can walk down the line and watch each kid and make sure all their form is well. So what's gonna happen, these guys are gonna roll the ball. Ready? Roll them. Right, left, catch. Now, when you freeze the ball, we wanna make sure, okay, that our knees are bent, our back's flat, and our eyes are focused on the baseball, okay? Your partner should see the back of your cap, okay? If he sees your eyes, something's wrong with that. You didn't follow the ball in. You should see the back of your cap, hands are here, you're in a good triangle, and that's the position we wanna be in. So they'll roll the ball back to their partner, and they'll right, left, catch, and freeze. Okay, go ahead. Roll back. Right, left, catch. Good. What we want to make sure when we're doing this drill is we want to make sure that we're reaching out to catch the ball. We don't want to receive the ball close to our body. That automatically is going to take our eyes off the ball. We want to keep our eyes on the ball and watch the ball into our glove. Go ahead. Good. Now that we talked about the regular ground ball, now we're gonna work on getting around the baseball. Okay, we're gonna work on creating momentum towards our target. So what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna line up the guys behind the cone. I'm gonna roll the ball straight at them. Instead of just stopping and catching, what I'm gonna have them do is I'm gonna have them go around that second cone. They're gonna go around the second cone, right, left catch, come through, and make their throw. Again, by doing this drill, it's keeping them from stopping their feet and just going down. It's keeping their feet moving, shuffling around, right, left catch, right, left throw. Also, when I do this drill, the reason why I want to get to the side of the baseball is if I'm on the side of the baseball, I can read the hops and the bounces of the ball and pick the hop that I want to catch. If I stay in a straight line with the baseball, I now lose my angle and the hops of the baseball and also get flat-footed. So I want to get to the side of the baseball, pick which one I want, and then fire through it. Okay, now, this drill, we took our team into the field. What we're gonna do is we take 2 cones. I'm taking my team and we have 2 coaches, either a player or a coach. One to roll the ball and one to catch the ball. We set up 2 cones. I line up on the cone. The coach or player rolls the ball nice and slow to me. Instead of me catching the ball going straight ahead, I'm gonna get around the cone, catch it, and throw it to first base. Now I'm in my ready position, I'm nice and loose. I get around the ball, I catch it, I throw, and I follow my throw. A lot of times kids will catch the ball, throw it, and stop. We want to make sure that when we throw the ball, we follow our throw. Extension off the toss, the catch and throw drill, what we're going to do now is this. We're going to work on incorporating fly balls, line drives, and balls that are low, okay? So what the coach will do, the coach will toss the ball player, if it's up in the air, he'll get underneath the ball, step and catch with both hands. Notice how I'm catching the ball with my glove hand and I'm covering it with my throwing hand. So I'm getting underneath the ball, I catch and cover. The second one is above the belt. If it's above my waist, I want to step and have my palms up to catch the ball. Again, I catch it with my glove hand, I catch and cover, and I get ready to throw. The third one is if the ball is below my waist. Now, instead of catching it this way, I'm gonna catch it with my palms down. So I'm gonna catch it with my glove hand, I'm gonna cover, and get ready for the throwing position. Now this drill, we're gonna work on catching the ball, whether it be a fly ball, a line drive, or a ball that's low. So what we do is we take a player or a coach and a bucket of wiffle balls. We don't use our gloves, we just use our hands. What we're going to do is the coach or player is going to throw 5 balls in a row, rapid fire to the ball player. What he's going to do is react with his body and work on catching the ball with 2 hands. After he gets 5 balls, he then goes to the end of the line, and the next guy gets 5 balls. And you can set this up to where you have little competitions and see who wins, who catches the most balls, sort of stuff like that, so it keeps it fun for them. So this is how the drill works. Coach is going to toss in the ball, he's going to catch it with 2 hands, drop the ball, get ready for the next one. And he's just going to keep moving his feet and working his hands, so he's catching the ball with both hands. Then switch.
An interesting statistic was recently cited. Children spend 2% of their time with coaches and 98% with parents from the ages of 6 to 12. The fundamentals and drills in this video can easily be used with parents, brothers, sisters, and friends. Your child's coach will be expected to incorporate these drills in their practice plans. And as a check and balance, league directors will be expected to monitor coaches and the reinforcement of the use of this material for parity in training.
Okay, right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about hitting. Everything from getting into the batter's box to the proper positioning to actually taking the swing to the baseball. The one thing I want everybody to know is that there are different types of ways to teach, different philosophies on hitting. And what we're gonna try to do here today is just break it down to the very basics to teach you guys how to put a good consistent swing on the baseball. Now, when we get into the batter's box, the first thing you wanna do is make sure that we have plate coverage. Something that Brady Williams does when he goes to the plate every single time is he lays the bat down on the plate and he makes a small line. That line's straight. That way he knows when he gets into the batter's box that he has plate coverage and he can hit the inside pitch as well as hit the outside pitch, okay? Now, first thing I want to do is make sure my feet are lined up straight, a straight line to the pitcher. Okay, my feet are in a straight line, a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Next thing I want to do is check and make sure my fingers are gripping the bat properly. And a way to do that is to rest the bat on our shoulder and to point our two pointer fingers into the sky. If they're both pointing straight up, that means I have a nice, loose, relaxed grip. The looser my hands are when I swing, the more whip I'm going to get from the baseball bat and the further the ball is going to go. Now that my fingers are on the bat properly, okay, this is called a nice, loose, relaxed grip. Something that happens sometimes is ball players will get in something called a choke grip. And what that is that's when my top hand is rotated and I'm in this position. Now when I go to make contact with the ball, I'm cutting my swing off, not being able to extend, and it cuts my swing off. So what I want to make sure I do is, again, if I line my fingers up, it relaxes my elbows and keeps my elbows down. Now when my elbows are in a down position, now when I make contact with the baseball, I can extend through the ball better. So that's why we make sure that we do our finger check and make sure our fingers are nice and loose on the bat. Now that I know that my hands are in a good position, all I'm going to do now from this position is lift the bat up off my shoulder. I'm going to try to keep the bat so it's in a 45-degree angle. Okay, I want to try to stay away from the bat being straight up and down, which often will create an uppercut. And I also want to try to stay away from the bat being totally flat on my shoulder. That again will create an uppercut. So I want to stay somewhere within a 45-degree angle of my bat being placed in my hands. So now we went over our actual stance. That's our stance. Now we're gonna get into the ready position. The ready position is as the pitcher's getting ready to get into his strong power position to throw, we now have to get into our power position to hit, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do two things. One is we're gonna take a stride to the pitcher, and as we're taking our stride, we're gonna load up our hands, okay? When the pitcher's getting ready, we're gonna load up our hands, and we're gonna take our stride, putting this into a good athletic position. This is where I wanna hit the ball from. So I go from my stance, my athletic position. Now, when I move my hands back, that's called loading, okay, or a trigger. And when I do my trigger, I want to make sure that my hands are going back from my body. I'm not just moving my body, creating a coil effect. This is what I don't want. But a lot of kids, when you say to bring their hands back, they'll turn their body, okay? All I want to do is slightly move my hands back towards the catcher, okay? Keeping this 90-degree angle. I want to make sure I keep the 90-degree angle. I don't want to straighten it out. I want to keep a 90-degree angle. So when I'm taking my stride, I'm loading my hands. I'm taking my stride, and I'm in a good athletic position. Now I can attack the baseball from a strong position. One of the things we want to make sure that we do when we're in this position is we want to feel that the weight is in the inside part of my feet. Okay, that's going to keep me and my balance, everything's set. So now when I attack the baseball, I'm attacking it with my whole entire body, opposed to striding on the outside part of my front foot, creating my weight to go forward, or lunging. We also call it lunging and hitting, or overstriding. If I keep my weight balanced and I take my stride and stay on the inside part of my front foot, that's gonna keep my weight and everything back. So now when I go to attack, I have my whole entire body going into the baseball, opposed to a lunging effect that now I'm using nothing but my upper body. Now we're actually going to talk about the attack of the ball. After we're in our stance, we get to our athletic position, now we're ready to hit. The first thing that's going to happen, okay, is my hands are going to start to attack the ball. I'm in a loose position. My top hand, which controls my barrel, I'm going to start to attack the baseball. As I'm attacking the ball and approaching the ball, my back hip is now going to get behind me and generate the power into the ball. I'm going to strike the ball and I'm going to follow through. Notice, this is called a power K right here. My front leg, my weight's going into my front leg, and I have a picture of a K right here. My head, my hip, and my back knee are in a straight line. That means I'm balanced. I use my whole entire body, and that's a good finishing position. My back toe is turned. I'm on the ball of my foot. I'm not on my toe. I'm on the ball of my foot, which made me generate power in and through the baseball. Some of the problems that take place, I'm in a good stance, I'm getting ready. The pitcher's getting ready to throw the ball to me. What happens to a lot of the ball players, instead of striding straight to the pitcher, what they actually do is they step out. If you notice, when I step out, what happens is it opens up my front hip. Now my power is all going to be sent to the third base coach, now not allowing me to reach the outside pitch or possibly getting jammed on the inside pitch. It creates a long swing. So we want to make sure that when we stride, we are striding towards the pitcher and we're staying close. Everything's staying inside our feet. So when I stride, I'm here opposed to being here and opening up. That's called opening up too early, or open up my front hip and losing all my power. First drill we're going to go over right now is called the T drill. And you can use any tee. It doesn't have to be this specific tee. It can be a construction cone. Anything that's going to actually hold the baseball is what we want. I believe that the tee drill is actually underrated, because if you go to a Major League Baseball game, those guys are in the tunnel before the games for an hour, hour and a half, hitting off the tee, working on basic fundamentals first. The reason why the tee is so good is that the ball is actually not moving. So the player can go through his mechanics, hit the ball, and get a result, opposed to a pitcher just sitting there throwing batting practice and having a guy get rushed and all that stuff. So when we're doing the tee drill, what we want to do is we want to make sure the player has good plate coverage, okay? We're going to line his front foot up about 4 inches away from the actual tee. That way when he does take his stride, he's even with, so he can take the ball and he can strike the ball and hit it into the net. Now, what Ricky's going to do is Ricky's actually going to take a stride, he's going to hit the ball, drive it straight, and he's going to freeze in his hitting position. Go ahead. Now, if you notice this position right here, okay, his head, his hip, and his knee are in a straight line. That's called the power K right there. That's what we want. Okay, his eye stayed on the target, his back foot is pivoted, which means he got his hips into the ball, and he finished high above his shoulder. That was a good swing. The next drill we're going to do is called a soft toss drill. Ricky's going to get into his normal hitting position. Okay, I'm going to take a bucket of balls. I'm going to take the ball, okay? Now, Ricky's in his normal hitting stance. Now, when I bring my hand back, that's when he's going to load his hands and get into his ready position. Then I'm going to flip the ball, aiming towards his front hip. This way, he's then going to bring his hands to the baseball, make contact, drive through it, and that's going to be his position. Okay, let's do that a couple times. So he's nice and loose, nice and relaxed in his stance. He gets ready, strikes the ball. Good. He gets set, he's nice and loose. He gets ready, and he hits the ball. Good. And one of the keys when doing this drill is that we want to make sure that the hitter, okay, when we bring our hand back, that's when he gets ready. Okay, what happens a lot of times is the player will just stand there in his position and wait until the ball is actually tossed. Then he's going to rush, and that's what's going to happen. Okay? A lot like when a pitcher throws the ball. If the pitcher's throwing the baseball and we're not ready, we have to try to do everything at one time. So when he's getting ready to pitch, we're getting ready to hit. And that's what we're trying to simulate here. When my hand goes back, Ricky gets ready, I toss the ball, and he strikes it into the net. What we're gonna do here is we actually have a double tee. This is gonna help fix a lot of problems. Now, Ricky's gonna get lined up like he's gonna strike the ball. Now, what happens a lot of times is hitters, okay, when they're in their stance, when they actually swing at the ball, a lot of times they'll overstride, take a big step. They'll overstride, creating a loopy swing, okay? They'll end up hitting the bottom tee before they hit the actual ball. They'll know they did it incorrectly. If they do it correctly, they'll take their normal stride, okay? And they'll strike, they'll hit the ball without actually hitting the tee, okay, which tells us that we made a good swing. That's a good swing. This is an uppercut. So what Ricky's gonna do, okay, is I'm gonna keep this tee here and this tee here. If he strikes this ball, it's most likely gonna be a good short, quick swing. Go ahead. Good. Now that we did the tee drill, the soft toss drill, and the double tee drill, what we're gonna do is we're gonna show some ways to actually put the hitters into like a live situation. Now, what we have here is an L screen, okay? But you don't have to use an L screen. You can use just a net or a hitting net that you can get behind. And all we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna stand behind here. I'm gonna put my left foot back, right foot forward. I'm gonna step back, bring my arm back. And again, when I do this, the hitter's getting ready. Then I'm gonna toss the ball. The hitter's gonna see it and he's gonna hit it. That way I have better accuracy to actually doing a front toss. Instead of a soft toss, it's like a front toss. That way I don't have to stand 40 feet back and try to throw and have pinpoint accuracy pitching. This is a lot easier on me, and I can do this to my whole entire team and work on hitting spots of the plate and that sort of thing. Now I'm gonna reverse the L screen. For those of you that do have an L screen, what you can do, this helps protect you during batting practice. Now, instead of me standing back 40 feet to pitch to the kids, something that's a lot easier on my arm is if I take a small chair, or I could even sit on the bucket with a bucket of balls, okay? Now I'm 30 feet away. It's a lot easier on my arm now. I can throw batting practice nice and firm, nice and easy, and I can have a lot better accuracy pitching to the kids that way. That way they're seeing the ball, I can throw strikes, and the kids are getting a lot more work in. A lot of times we go back there and we're trying to throw strikes, but since we're far away, we throw balls, we make kids just swing at balls that are close. This way, it gives us a lot better of a chance to throw strikes, and it's a lot easier on our arm. In closing, all the different drills that we did today, what you can do in the practice is you can set up small mini stations to get a lot of hitting in. Instead of just throwing batting practice, you can have 2 guys working on a tee, 2 guys working on soft toss, and 2 guys on the field. That way, as a team and as a group, you're getting a lot more work done, okay? Also, going through the hitting mechanics, one thing that you want to remember is that not every single kid's gonna hit exactly alike, but certain great hitters have the same key components that make them a great hitter. So don't try to clone the kids. Make it nice and make sure they're nice and loose, have them have their own type of swing, and have fun with it.
First and foremost, parents can expect a safe environment for their children. This includes techniques employed by the coaches, as well as the equipment supplied by the league. Even though all of our coaches are volunteers, and people have different styles of coaching, parents should expect a certain level of professionalism on the playing field. If you observe behavior that is inconsistent with the expectations of the Readington Junior Baseball League, please contact the Vice President of Operations on the League's Executive Board. Additionally, coaches should teach the fundamentals of the game and help each player be the best that they can be. Lastly, it should also be obvious from the sidelines that players will have the opportunity to have equal playing time and play a variety of positions, keeping safety as the foremost concern.
Next part of this videotape, we're gonna talk about pitching. First thing we're gonna talk about is how you're gonna stand on top of the mound, okay? First thing we're gonna do is gonna make sure that we're gonna have the balls of our feet in front of the rubber, Every single time we get ready to throw the baseball, not on top. All right, when we get on top, we usually get off balance a little bit. So we're gonna have the balls of our feet down. Our feet are gonna be spread out just a little bit. And what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna pretend like I have 3 feet. I got my 2 real feet, and the space in the middle, I'm gonna try and keep the width of one of my shoes right there. So I got my 3 feet right here. I'm gonna take my glove, I'm gonna start my glove straight up right out in front of me. All right, what this is doing is a couple things. When I have the ball in the glove, I have my fingers on top of the baseball. A lot of guys that start with their glove sideways, their fingers are on the side of the baseball. The second thing that does is it leaves the third base coach an opportunity to see what pitch is actually coming when you guys get a little bit older. So our glove is up, our fingers are on top, our feet are spread apart a little bit, our head's locked right on that target. Now that we have a good, comfortable starting position on top of the mound, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go step by step what our body actually does. And we have a saying here that we use: if you can't control your body, you can't control the strike zone. And what that means is through every step of our windup, we have to be able to control what our body's actually doing. And we're gonna try and give you the knowledge of what actually happens through your windup, okay? So the first step we're gonna start with, just like we started on top of the mound, our first step, okay, is a very small step with our left foot. This is called our rocker step. Notice, when I take this step, I'm not taking a big one. When I take a big step, all of a sudden, all my balance is off already. All right, from this position right here, when I turn to get ready to throw, there's no way I'm gonna be balanced through my windup. So we're gonna take a small step at a 45-degree angle, which means we're gonna go slightly to the side and slightly back at the same time. 45-degree angle right to there. That's called our rocker step. The second step we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our foot, our pivot step, so it's parallel to the rubber right there. Okay, what this is gonna allow me to do to start rotate my body. Okay, so again, going through the first 2 steps, it's 1 rocker, 2 we're gonna pivot. Now from our pivot position, what we have to do is we have to get to a good balance position. And a good way to do this is something that I call knee to knee. What I mean by that is when I pick my leg out, I'm gonna actually take both my knees and kind of rub them together so that I get to a good balance position. Okay, a lot of times what you'll see is a pitcher takes his leg, and it really does occur sometimes from the beginning stages, but that leg will actually swing a little bit, and when it swings, my balance gets thrown off, and all of a sudden, right there, I can't control the strike zone. Okay, so again, after our pivot step, we're gonna take both knees, rub them together, and we're gonna get to a good balance position right here. Now that we got a good balance position, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on what our hands are actually gonna do right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get in our good balance position, all right? Our hands are in the center of our chest, in line with our belly button, our elbows are down, our arms are nice and relaxed, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick our leg up right to this position, our legs slightly back, our toes down, and we're nice and loose right here, okay? What we're gonna do from here, when we deliver the baseball, our hands are gonna start break down to our thighs. I always say thumbs to your thighs. What that means is as our hands are going down, our leg is going down, and both are happening kind of at the same time right there. What happens a lot of times when your body starts drifting forward and you're not in a good balanced position, your body starts to get ahead of your arm a little bit. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and make both our lower half and our upper half work together. So we're gonna go to that balanced position again. Right from here, our thumbs break down to our thighs, our hands go down, our leg breaks, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into a good power position right there. Okay, what we're gonna do is after we get to that balance position, we're gonna get to a good powerful position, kind of like we talked about earlier in the tape right there, where our front arms line up right at our target, our back elbows high, our fingers are on top of the baseball. And what happens here is that front arm, with a lot of guys, it actually pulls in the wrong direction. It either goes out to the left, or we're not lined up to begin with, and we end up throwing across our body. And that really relates to a lot of mechanical problems. So we're gonna make sure our elbows are in a straight line, they're inside our shoulder blades, our fingers are on top of the baseball, and right when we get rid of to deliver the baseball, all we're gonna do is this palm, our glove palm is gonna start to turn up. And by doing that, it's gonna keep my front shoulder right in line, and it's gonna allow me to be squared up right with the target right here. After we broke our hands from this balance position, we're gonna land in that power position, kind of like we talked about earlier in our throwing drills, okay? And we're gonna be in a good powerful position with our front arm lined up directly at our target, kind of like a little line of sight right there. Our back elbow is gonna be high above our shoulder, fingers on top of the baseball. And what happens from this point right here, a lot of guys have a problem of controlling this front arm, all right? What happens if this front arm is in line with our target, there's a good chance that my body's gonna stay in line with the target. So meaning if this comes out, most likely that right arm's gonna either drop down or do something wrong right there. If my arm's pointed in this direction, which is across our body, notice how my arm is behind right there. All right, from this position here, most likely I'm gonna be across my body, and when I'm trying to throw the ball in the strike zone away from arm side or down the middle, I'm going to have a tough time getting that ball out in front. And again, I'm going to miss either high and arm side or I'll miss low and away with a little cutter or something like that. So again, we're going to be in that power position right here. And what we're going to do is to combat having our arm go in the wrong direction, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our palm and we're going to kind of just turn it up so that when we rotate, our glove is up straight out in front of us. So when I throw, that my head's on line, my front arm's in line, and my front elbow stays up. So after I've rotated right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, all I'm doing from this position is I'm letting go of the baseball. And just like we talked about before, that hand whipping through that zone and that gooseneck that we talked about before, and our eyes and our head stay right on our target. Okay, so it's, I'm going to go through the whole steps here. We're going to go through that rocker step, a pivot to the balance, knee to knee. We're going to break to the power position. Our thumbs go down to our thighs. Our body rotates. Our head's right on target. Our gloves in right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to finish right to our target right there. And then our back leg's going to come over and we're going to follow through. The last part of throwing, obviously, is the finish part. And what I want you guys to think about is think about putting your nose into that catcher's mitt. A lot of times, again, if I'm offline to begin with, if my head's going this way, my front arm's going that way, it gives me a tough time to consistently put the ball in a strike zone. So I want you guys to think about is your head stays on target the whole time, all the way through. When I get to this position, I'm putting my nose right into that glove, and I'm finishing right to that glove, and everything stays on line right there. What we like to do for our pitching drills, all right, what we like to do is actually break down the pitcher on top of the mound, take a look at him mechanically, and then what we like to do, instead of having him throw to a catcher from 46 feet or 60 feet, whatever it might be, is we like to do them from a short distance, just throwing to a net or into a target. So what we can do is totally concentrate on the mechanics of the pitch. All right, a lot of times when we have to worry about the result, the ball going all different places, and we're trying to work on mechanics, too many things are going through the thought process in the pitcher's head. So we kind of shorten up distance, maybe 10, 15 feet away, and just totally work on the mechanics of the pitch right here, okay? So the first drill we're going to do here is a little ball toss drill, kind of like we did with the power position before. It's kind of an extension on that. And this drill is really, like we were talking about before, one of the main problems we have with guys is that elbow dropping down or those fingers not being on top of the ball. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have Timmy line up into that power position. He's going to line up in that power position. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually toss the ball from behind. He's going to catch it, and then he's going to throw the ball right to the target. And the reason we're going to do this, and we're going to actually have him go at a pretty decent speed, under control but quickly, is that when he catches the ball, which way does he have to catch it? He has to catch it with his fingers on top. He cannot catch the baseball this way. Okay, the second thing is when I'm throwing the baseball, I am not throwing the baseball down to where his elbow's down. I'm throwing it to where he has to catch the ball with his elbow up. Remember, throwing over the top is not correct. Throwing with your elbow up is correct. Your elbow above your shoulder is what we need. All right, we don't have to come straight over the top. That's not correct, okay? So we're gonna start in that power position. I'm gonna step behind him. I'm gonna toss it right into his hand, and he's gonna deliver the baseball. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go a little quicker than that. Keep your head straight. Catch and throw. Very good, awesome. Good. couple of variations we can work off this drill. For a guy that actually gets used to actually doing the drill where we throw the ball up, where our elbow's up, we're actually going to put him in a position where he feels like he's in the wrong position, meaning our elbow is going to be down. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to toss him the ball with his elbow down. He's going to catch the ball down here, and now it's the player's job to bring his elbow up and then deliver the baseball. So it's going to work like this. We're going to start here. His elbow's going to start down. I'm going to throw it right to his hand. He's going to bring his arm up, then throw. So what we're doing right there is we're actually teaching him after a while that this feels wrong and we have to make it right. Instead of starting in this position the whole time, we're going to put him in the wrong position, and it's his job to make it the right position. The last variation off this drill that we're going to do is the guy that actually throws the bottom of the baseball like we talked about before. Again, we're going to put him in the wrong situation. We're going to tell him to make it the right situation. So I'm going to start from the side this time, and I'm going to toss him the ball where he catches the ball with his fingers on the bottom of the baseball. And what he's going to have to do is turn the ball backwards and then deliver the baseball. So I'm going to start to the side over here. He's going to face his hand right at me. I'm going to toss it. He's going to bring it back. Throw. We'll go a little quicker this time. Face your hand totally at me. There you go. Bring it back. Very nice. Good. What I'm going to do right now is going to talk about balance. Balance is one of the most important things with throwing a baseball. If you're not balanced, and like I said before, if you're not in control of what your body's actually doing, it's tough to control where you're actually throwing the baseball. One of the hardest things with pitching is to have the same delivery time in and time out. That means every single time I throw the baseball that I'm repeating my delivery over and over and over again. That way I can control the strike zone. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a little balance drill. What I'm going to do, just like we were talking about before, the proper balance position, Ricky's going to start in the balance position. Hands are together, his elbows are relaxed, he's in line with his belly button. He's going to pick his leg all the way up. As you can notice, his legs parallel to the ground right there, his hands are in the center of his chest, his toes down, just to stay closed a little bit longer, and he's nice and relaxed throughout here. This time what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate both the balance position and the power position. Like I said before, controlling our body throughout the whole windup is key here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Ricky go into the balance position. When I say go, he's going to break his hands, thumbs to his thighs, and he's going to land in a perfect power position. Ready? Balance. Good. Go. Power. Awesome. Very good. Not bad. Do it again. Ready? Balance. What Ricky's going to do is he's going to be in a good balance position right here. When I say go, he's going to get into that power position. Ready? Go. Not bad. Very good. What we're going to do right here, just because some guys have bad direction with their body, a lot of it stems from where their front arm goes. A lot of them just have a tendency, because they're off balance, to drift to one direction or the other. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually put a line down here. I actually have a stick that I'm going to use. So when he goes through his windup, he knows that he can't step across his body. And what we can do is we can actually put it in line with his toes right here, so that he doesn't step across, or we can put it behind his heels in this position to make sure he doesn't step in the bucket there. So now every single time I throw, we know we're in a straight line. So what we're going to do is we're going to start him, we'll start him in the bucket position first. There, you ready? One of the best drills to do as far as with throwing and pitching is something we call the towel drill. What this allows us to do is to really concentrate on our mechanics without having to throw a baseball. And what we can do is really concentrate on getting our glove out in front and extending all the way out to make sure we finish. So what we're going to do is Ricky's going to start with the towel right in his hands. He's going to grip the towel just like with his middle finger wrapped around and his index and his ring finger on the other side of the towel, right in this, directly in the center of a kitchen-sized towel. He's going to start in his full wind-up position. What Ricky's going to do here is going to go through his whole wind-up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the glove all the way out in front. He's going to come through and slap the glove right with the towel here. What the towel drill allows us to do is to see if we have good direction, if we have good extension, if our front arm gets all the way out towards our target, and we rotate and get all the way out here, we can actually reach out and hit that glove. If we step across our body, you'll watch when you do your drill, you actually miss that glove. So it improves our direction, not only one thing, but it also gets us to learn that we have to get the ball out in front. All pitching's done out here. It's not done here. And if I throw the ball 90 miles an hour and I throw it from this spot right here, my release point's here, and another guy throws the ball 90 miles an hour from here, which one gets to the hitter first? The one that's more out in front. So my arm's moving faster out in front and I'm releasing the ball closer to the hitter. Towel drill's a great drill to do. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to work on the finish, the follow-through position. All right. Every time we throw the baseball, it's very, very important that we make sure that we finish that pitch. Most likely, when guys don't finish, they either miss up, they don't have as much juice on the ball. So what we're going to do is going to make sure we're going to start with a drill called the chair drill. What I'm doing is I'm actually going to take my back leg. I'm going to start my back leg on the chair right here. And what you can do is you can start this drill from a bunch of different positions. You can either start it from the power position. You can start your hands together, make your circle, whatever you want to do with it, okay? When I start a back leg on chair, I'm going to do it from the power position. My gloves out, we got everything in line right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly rotate, rotate, rotate. I'm going to deliver the baseball, and I'm going to freeze in this position. Kids learn 3 ways. They either hear it, which means the coach telling them what to do. They see it, which means they can watch themselves on tape, or they can watch themselves in front of a mirror do it, or they can feel it. Feeling usually works the best way. That means if I can feel my body getting all the way out here, most likely I can repeat that in a game situation. If I can't feel what I'm doing, it's tough for me to fix a problem, or it's tough for me to feel what I'm supposed to be doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to force that pitcher of yours to feel what it feels like to be out in front right there. What we're going to do with Steven here, Steven's going to work on from the power position. He's going to work on the follow through. What we're going to do is after he delivers the baseball, he's going to freeze in that follow through position. I'm going to hold his leg up there, and we're just going to hold it there for as long as we can. It's a good idea to not only be balanced all the way through your windup, but to also be balanced on your finish position.
As players, we expect that you pay close attention to your coaches as you would your teachers and your parents. Remember, they are all there to assist you in improving your baseball skills. We expect that you respect your coaches, your teammates, and your opponents. And perhaps most of all, we expect that you respect the decisions of the umpires. Finally, come to the field prepared to play baseball. Practice what you've learned and enjoy each and every moment of the baseball season.
Right now we're going to talk, the last segment of our video, we're going to talk a little bit about catching. As far as catching goes, the two most important things when you're catching is you always watch the ball, okay? That's as any other position in baseball, and as well as hitting, you always watch the ball, and that's the most important thing when you're catching the ball, because when you see the ball early, okay, you can react and you're going to be able to catch the ball a lot easier. And the second part is you always want to be balanced, and no matter what you're doing, you always want to be balanced, okay? And that's going to help you out as well. Now we're going to talk about where do you want to sit up as when you're catching, okay? It has nothing to do with where the plate is. Everything is going to dictate is where the batter is, okay? So what we're going to do, a good judge for me, a good tool for me, is when I'm sitting back here behind the plate, okay, I just take a look at the batter, because you know some batters are closer to you and some batters like to move up in the box, some batters are way back in the box. So the best thing to do is you stick your glove out, okay, and try to touch the batter's back leg, okay? As you guys are first starting in Little League, okay, I would take an extra half a foot step back. So if the batter's right here, I'd like to take him somewhere right around here, okay? This way you're not going to get hit with the bat, okay? And that's one of the most important things. We want to be safety first when we're catching. And again, the first thing I said, we always want to watch the ball. So we're here and we're waiting for the ball. When we're setting up, we're going to set up behind the plate where, for the most part, in Little League, we're going to sit down right down the middle. As you get a little bit older, we're going to be able to shift out to the left and to the right, depending on how much accuracy the pitcher really has. There's two positions when we're catching. When there's a runner on base and when there's a runner not on base. Okay, the first thing is called the regular position and a ready position. A regular position, it doesn't really matter how you are, as long as you feel comfortable and you're able to catch the ball. Too many times what happens is kids are leaving their arms on their legs, and the problem with that is when you have to catch a pitch down here, the first thing you have to do is you have to start moving your leg and you get caught up in there. And this is a good example that I'm calling. It's a drill that we call clear the knee. Okay, what we want to do is want to make sure that our elbows are basically in front of our knee, but not fully extended and not all the way back, right in the middle. Okay, as you keep going, you got to make sure that you got to feel comfortable when you're doing this. You have to make sure that your elbows in front of your knee. This way you get full range of motion. Okay, notice how my elbows are my arms and they're not hitting my leg anymore. This way you're going to be able to catch a pitch here and be able to catch a pitch here. Now, the second position that I'm going to talk about right now is our ready position. Before I said you want to be comfortable. In your regular position, you want to be comfortable. And if you remember earlier on, I told you the second most important thing in catching is you always want to be balanced. Too many times kids are in a ready position with guys on base and you need to block a pitch over here, or the guy might be stealing on you and you're in a comfortable position. And then when you get in a comfortable position, you're going to get lazy. Okay, what we need to be is in a balanced position, and that's called our ready position. So what we want to do is you want to make sure that maybe just like as we're hitting, our feet are a little bit more wider than shoulder width apart. Okay, this way we can get in a good position. So we start here, okay, and we're going to go out, and we want to make sure our legs are pretty much square. We don't want our feet open like this because we're not going to have a good range of motion. We want to line up our feet directly at the pitcher. Just sit here just like this, okay? Notice how my butt is not going down, it's parallel. It's like a 90-degree angle we're looking for, okay? This is going to give me a good range of motion. We're sitting here like this, elbow again in front of the knee. This hand is always in a fist, both positions, regular and ready. This hand is always in a fist with the thumb tucked inside. This way, if we do get hit there, then we're not going to break a finger. So we're going to be like this, okay? Elbow again in front of the knee. And then we're going to be able to get a good range of motion here. And just watch the ball, and then we're going to just catch it. Watch the ball and catch it. Okay, now we're going to talk about how we're going to receive a pitch. Too many times you see when kids are trying to catch a ball, they are actually going out to go and catch a ball. Remember, as catchers, we're receiving the ball. Okay, we dictate nothing of where the ball is going to go. The pitcher's already thrown the ball, so if the ball is coming this way, we can't change the path and make it go back this way. So the most important thing is you just want to go over and catch the ball. Now, a good example that I like to give is when I am standing up here. Okay, do I want to catch a pitch like this, or if I'm playing catch with my friends, do I want to catch a pitch like this? No. What I want to do is I want to try to move over and catch the ball. Okay, this way the ball is closer to my eyes and it's going to be a lot easier for me to catch. A good example of this is when we're down on our position, we don't want to catch a ball and pull it over here, and we don't want to catch a ball like this. Okay, if the pitch is here, okay, we don't want to pull it here. All we want to do is catch a pitch, just slide over. Okay, so when the ball is in its path coming towards us, all we do is we move over and we catch the ball. Move over and catch the ball. Now, when we catch the ball, we just want to catch the ball with this hand, okay? Too many times what happens is you go out and try to catch the ball like this, okay? It's good to catch the ball with two hands, but not when we're catching. All we want to do is teach soft hands, okay? All we're doing is this, bam, catch the ball. Try to center the ball behind your head in the middle of your body. Now we're going to talk about a little bit about blocking, okay? This is when the runners are on base, and the reason why we need to block the ball is because if the ball goes behind us, okay, that runner's going to get second base and third base, and then if you keep missing the balls, eventually you're going to score. So a good tool to do, okay, remember when I said see the ball early, okay? First thing that we're always doing is watching the ball. If we see the ball early out of the pitcher's hands, we're going to see the path and the flight of the ball and which way it's going to go. So if the ball's coming down and it's going to go and hit the ground, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to try to block the ball. We're going to be in a ready position when we're doing this, okay? And a good drill we could do is we just take the wiffle balls and we're just going to block wiffle balls to start out with. So we're going to be in our good, balanced, ready position, okay? Just like this. Now let's just say the ball's coming down this way, okay? The first thing that we do is we drop our glove as well as our hand. Remember, this hand is never open, okay? This hand is always in the fist again. Into our ready position. Okay, and we go down, okay? The first thing that goes down is our glove and our hand. So we're going down like this. Bam, first thing that goes down is our glove and our hand, okay? I'm going a little bit slow motion right now. First thing, glove in the hand again. straight down, and we watch the ball into our chest, okay? And we want to try to flatten this glove out against the ground. This way it covers up more area. Notice if you look at the back of my feet right now, how they're flat against the ground, okay? By doing this, we are going to be in a position that we talk about. It's called a C position, okay? If it's my upper body, if I turn to the side here, okay, notice that my upper body right now is straight. When I'm down in this position right here, I can almost crouch over, and the position that we're talking about is a C, okay? So when the ball does hit our stomach, okay, it's going to stay here. If I'm straight, it's going to hit my stomach, and it's either going to bounce off over here, or it's going to bounce way over there. Now, when we go down to block a pitch, our legs go down at the same time. Not this knee first, not this knee first, both at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to show you here what I'm talking about. Good ready position, waiting for the ball, bam. What we want to do is we want to get down as quick as we can. Notice how my glove and my hand went down first. This hand is tucked behind the glove, dug straight in the ground. I'm watching the ball as it comes in. And I almost want to cradle it in. So when the ball's coming in, I want to cradle it in. Okay, and this way we can block the ball from there. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about throwing. As you learned earlier on in the video, especially when Keith was talking about pitching, the most important thing when we're throwing as catchers, we want to have a four-seam grip. Okay, what this does is it's going to enable us to get on top of the ball a little bit better. And we throw the ball, we're looking for that backspin. Okay, the backspin we're talking about is just like that. And then what that's going to do is going to make the ball go straight. If we grab the ball in a two-seam grip, a lot of times what's going to happen, we're going to throw the ball and the ball is going to tail at the end. It's going to die off on us. Okay, we're going to talk about when we're going to throw down to second base for right now. Now we're going to be in our ready position, of course. Okay, whenever there's a guy on base, we're in a ready position. Here we go. Ready position. Okay, watch the ball into your glove. Okay, we're just like this, thumb right behind. We're watching it. Still, still, still. As we first thing to do when we catch the ball, okay, take the thumb on your glove hand and bring it to this ear. Catch it, thumb right to the ear. Okay, and what this does is going to start to square our shoulders towards the target that we're going to be throwing to. Now, if you watch my feet right now, okay, I'm going to go through this real slow for you. A lot of times what happens is the first thing that kids do when they catch a ball is they do one of these. They jump and turn. When we want to throw to second base, we have to make sure that our feet are parallel to the base or slightly open, okay? Because what happens if we close ourselves off just like this, we're going to have to throw across our body. What I just did right there was called a jump spin. We're up like this, okay? I don't like this method that much. Okay, what I like to do is a real basic method I like to teach all the kids that I work with is we're in our ready position. And what I do with this foot right here is I just come to here, here, and then find our power position. So if I go real quick for you, this foot does a little jab step, find our balance position, our power position, all right? So first thing that we do, watch the ball, catch the ball, thumb right to the ear, right there. Okay, again, thumb to the ear, there. Now we're going to talk about how long our stride needs to be when we throw. We don't want to go all the way out here and throw because it's going to take too much time. So what we're going to do is this. Again, if you remember when I first said where we want to line up, it all depends on the batter. Okay, so we're lining up here. Okay, we got a ready position going. We're in a good ready position. All right, now we're going to watch my feet here. Bam, to here. We don't want to step on the plate, okay? Because what happens if we step on a plate, as soon as we try to throw, we're going to fall off balance, okay? So what you want to do is you want to try to step behind the plate, okay? If the ball's right down the middle, we're talking right here, okay? Make your jab step short enough where we can get in a good power position, So we're going to be here. That should be pretty good. Notice I'm not stepping on a plate. If I was here, I'd be fine. Okay? I'm a little bit taller than the little guys when you're playing, so if I could do this, you're going to be able to do this. Okay? So we're talking about where our feet want to be. We don't want to do one of these because that's just too much time. So I want to go real quick. Catch the ball, thumb to the ear, power position. Okay? And then we want to throw.
Parents, let the coaches do the job they have volunteered to do. Respect the coach's time with the players and have any discussions with the coaches after the practices and games. Have players at practices and games on time as requested by the coach. Help with volunteer work that is asked of you throughout the season. And work with your children on the off days, utilizing the drills contained in this video.
Let's see, when I started playing when I was 6 years old, we had the field at Railroad Avenue, and we had the field behind Readington Township School. And the field behind Readington Township School, there were like weeds on it, and it wasn't kept up very well. And now, I mean, you guys have batting cages over by the railroad fields. You have 3 fields over there. You have the fields off Hillcrest and off 523, and it's just fantastic to see the way that the program has really grown. And from talking to people, you guys have a lot more teams here now, and it's just more advanced. And I hope that the kids here in town really know how lucky they have it. And there's fantastic opportunity here to be a player or an umpire. Probably the first game that I ever umpired, and that was off of Railroad Avenue, and I was 13 years old, and I was working home plate, and I had the outside protector, and I didn't have any shin guards on, so my shins got all beat up. And I remember, a coach yelling at me for the first time, and I was 13, he was about 40, 45. And it was like a challenge, that I had this older guy actually yelling at me, over a game, over Little League kids. And the kids were like 9 years old because I was 13. And, that's when I got hooked. Well, if your dream is to become a major league player or a major league umpire, I mean, you should be out there and you should focus, and you should just try your best, because I can vouch for it. Your dream can come true, because when I was 13, after I started umpiring, that's when I wanted to be a major league umpire. And I've had the opportunity to walk on every major league field now, and umpire games at that level. And that's I can't be more thankful to Readington Township. I think the most important thing is to just be professional. Don't lose your cool. Be respectful. I treat people the way that they treat me, okay? And there's going to be differences. There's always differences. That's part of the game. When I put the uniform on, I know that I'm going to have controversy, because I can't make 100% of the people happy all the time. And I talk to young players all the time, and this question comes up. And I think that the most important thing is to just be professional. I can't stress that enough. If you lose your cool, and if you act like a jerk, then the person that's really going to look bad is you, okay? It's not going to be the umpire. It's not going to be the fans or the coach. It's going to be you at the time. And, you just have to keep your head. And it's a game, okay? It's a game, but there's emotions. And I understand that. Umpires understand that, okay? Especially at the level that I'm at right now, in the minor leagues, in the major leagues. People, this is their livelihood. But you have to remain focused. You have to keep in mind the situation, keep in mind that there's people watching you, and that you're going to gain your reputation by how you act, and just stay professional and treat people the way that you want to be treated. I'll tell you what, I think that parents are great, okay? But I also think in the same breath that parents have to know their position when it comes to kids' athletics. And parents have to understand that it's their kid out playing, but once the kid is on the field, they need to just sit back, watch the game, and just let whatever happens, happens. And I think that some of the most difficult situations that I've dealt with as an umpire, and I've umpired since I was 13 in a Little League Baseball all the way up to Major League Baseball. And the most difficult situations that I've had are with parents, hands down. It is easier to umpire at the Major League level and deal with professionals like Joe Torre, Bobby Valentine, Jeff Torborg, than it is to umpire a local Little League game and put up with parents, okay? And I'll tell you what, it is very, very difficult when you're trying to umpire a game or when coaches are trying to coach a game and you have parents that are just outrageous. And my advice to parents is to sit back, watch the game, and if you're not coaching, then you should be just watching because you're a fan. It was August 14th, 2000 in Miami at Pro Player Field. It was the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Florida Marlins. And the first call I ever made, I think it was a fair foul down left field line because I was working third base. Yeah, but that was a pretty cool feeling, you know, to get that phone call. And it is, you know, like you see on like the commercials and stuff like that, to get the call. It is getting the call. You know, I was in Columbus, Ohio, you know, working AAA at the hotel, and at about 2:30 p.m. the phone rang, you know, to let me know I was getting called up. And it was like 2 days later I was going to Miami, and that was a pretty good feeling. You know, I mean, it's kind of crazy, and you know, you start packing your stuff and you start making your plane reservations and all that stuff, but it's great. It's great, you know. And I just think back to when I was 13 and I said that I want to be a Major League umpire, and I had so many people that were supportive, like my parents, my friends, guys like Mike Martino that were very, very big in Readington baseball back then. Since then, he's passed, and he was a great guy, and he helped me along. But I mean, there were so many people that helped me, but there were a few people that always told me I was never going to make it because there were 68 umpires in the country. And so to them out there, you know, I made it. But you think about all those things go through your head when you get that phone call, you know. But that's just the beginning because that's your first game, and the key is to stick, you know. And this is 3 years later, and I'm still getting big league games, so I'm pretty happy, you know.